Hello everyone, Dark Scythe here. Now, a lot has happened since I scripted the original cut of this video. The formation of the Alt-CC, the CC flipping their shit and making assumptions about the Alt-CC and criticizing said assumptions. Now, I thought they would have learned their lesson after doing it the first time, and me making an entire video criticizing them for it, but unfortunately, they did not. Dylan Thomas decided that he didn't want anything to do with the CC anymore, so he said he's leaving the CC and forming the Alt-CC. Now, what is the Alt-CC? Well, we'll get to that later. After Dylan announced the Alt-CC, the Neo-CC, as we call them, flipped their shit. And after Dylan said he wanted nothing to do with the CC anymore, they all attacked him like a flock of sheep. But I promise, there's no hive mind. No hive mind at all, right, Doodle Tones? Right?
Wrong.
Now, before I explain what the Alt-CC is all about, I feel that the history of the CC and the other subgroups of the CC should be explained.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for a history lesson. The commentary community started with Reupload in 2008. They are the pioneers of the commentary community with Let's Plays. Now, for anyone that is not aware, after Reupload, the first generation of the commentary community was Darkness the Curse, Big Al 2K6, Armake21, Jim81 Jim, and Boomstick 545. All of these guys that I listed were big deals in 2008, especially Jim81 Jim with his feud with Spax3. Those are the first generation commentators. They didn't care how you made videos, they just joked around most of the time. Second generation was in 2010 with MSkull01, Steven the Master, Vesper the Snake, Junior Fan, Dark Angel the Light, Rashutsu, and Tubers93. Third generation was Youngblood, TOG, Flippy Invader 782, now known as Mr. Flipper Invader 782, Beastly Eevee, Scarlet Otaku, and perhaps Millsdorf Riddler. The fourth generation is Doodletones, Half-Boiled Hero, Ski Hound, and Dirtbike Redden. This generation is what we refer to as the Neo-CC. The fifth generation is us, the Alt-CC. Myself, Dark Scythe, Mr. Thomas, Mr. Inferno, Just a Robot, and DiCaprio DeLorean.
Commentaries have existed on YouTube for just about as long as the site has been up, and as the site grew, so did commentaries. Eventually, commentaries grew so big that they became unstable and broke into several different fractures. Let me tell you the differences between the new fractures. First, we had the original commentary community. The original commentary community became stale and corrupt, so it broke off into commentaries and political commentaries. Political commentaries were people who were talking about social issues and trying to break outside the norm of the normal CC, which mainly just talked about different YouTube creators. Now, each one of these two also broke off into other fractions. The CC broke off and created the Cringe CC, which is what Leafy's here in Pyrocynical is. They cover cringy YouTube videos that they find, and they're more funny, and they try to find observational humor in just about everything. They're the typical gameplay commentary channels. Now, the same thing happened with the political commentators. The political commentators got a little bit too SJW-ish. They got a little bit too PC. So, a group of them broke off into their own little group, the Skeptics, which you may know for Armored Skeptic, Bearing, and plenty of others. So, one side of them is SJW, and then the other side is more anti-SJW, which is Armored Skeptics group. Now, what's happening with the CC right now, the regular CC that somehow still exists after all this time, this is what's happening in the CC right now, and this was an inevitability. The CC has grown too big again, and now has become too bearing. They're telling people what to upload, how to upload, and what language they can use to be taken seriously. We have grown tired of these rules that exist for no reason and do not better anybody's arguments. So we have decided to split off off from the CC and form our own new community, just like the skeptics and the political commentators before us, to promote free thinking and individuality. We don't care if you're nice over here. As long as what you're saying is true, we're not going to call you out for being an asshole. And the whole point of the commentary community to begin with was free thinking. If they're telling you what to think, they're not free thinkers. So for now on, I'm only going to refer to them as the Neo-CC. You can do it if you want to, I don't care. Because they don't deserve the title of commentary community. They're too far different now. They're nothing like the CC was. So, if you feel like you're being restricted by the CC, separate. This is your alternate route. We are the alternate commentators. We are the alt-CC. We are the other group. We are the group that you can turn to when you feel like that this current CC is not for you. We want to be the other choice. You don't have to conform to the CC. There's always another way. So, yeah, that's all I had to say about the alt-CC.
So what will it be? Will you take the blue pill, or will you take the red pill? The choice is yours, but nevertheless, enjoy the video. So, after making a trailer, a prelude, and riling up an entire community in the process, this is finally it. The moment you have all been waiting for. The video that many people in the CC have actually been looking forward to, believe it or not. And no, not for commentary material per se, but because some people within the CC actually have an open mind and are interested to see my thoughts on the community as a whole. So, if I'm going to explain my problems with the commentary community, I feel I should also share my history with it and ultimately what led to this point. So, I started this YouTube channel back in 2014, being inspired by other content creators like Nate Talks to You. I started making commentaries on another YouTuber called Robert Storms, the final fall of Robert Storms being the video that put me on the map. At the time, I really didn't know the commentary community still existed. Last I heard about it was when Black Buster Critic utterly tore at a new asshole, and how Stormsync, aka Robert Storms, became a lol cow after his shitty rants on PC gamers and trolls. After a while, I got bored of making commentaries, so I moved on to gaming-related videos. That is, until another YouTuber by the name of Evil Ryu stepped in with a big target on his back. I commented on one of his videos and jokingly told him to kill himself, and he took it quite literally.
Another stupid OBA supporter freaking insults me. What the heck is going on here? Look at this guy. This guy right here. Look at him. This is the YouTuber that I blocked from my channel. This is the one that I'm having trouble with. Please kill yourself. Oh, a death threat now? So OBA supporters are death threatening me now?
I then decided to respond to it due to it being the first derogatory video made about me in years. After that, he responded back with another video claiming that I abused him, since I basically destroyed his entire little video on me.
So, here I was, minding my own business, looking for something new to do, bored out of my mind. Since Teen Go-On Fighter and Doug 8798 were no longer fun subjects to cover, I decided to look over my subscriptions to find something new. And then it hit me. When I remembered there was this one guy my friend The Wall knew. And that was Darkscythe. I looked at Darkscythe's newest videos that revolved around this kid named Evil Ryu, and then I saw Evil Ryu's actual video as well. And that he had more than one derogatory video on another person other than Darkscythe. In fact, close to a few dozen, mind you. So I made commentaries out of them, and Darkscythe and I became partners in crime. But before our holy union became a thing, a commentator discovered me by the name of EleniGuy34, and he introduced me into the community, where I was somewhat recognized by some of the well-known and some of the more infamous of the commentators.
Then Save Anime and I started talking after my feud with Evil Ryu, and Save Anime introduced me to the still thriving community. I was shocked to see that it was still around, but I didn't really pay too much attention to it. Nothing else really happened with the CC until Save Anime contacted a commentator by the name of Mr. Awesome and Mario through another commentator named MDXLR. Mr. A said that Save Anime and I had potential and wanted to do a try-op on a YouTuber called Rhett Banks, who had made a multitude of videos about me. I had never seen any of Mr. A's videos beforehand, but I went ahead and agreed to it. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Well, many things. While Save Anime and I were scripting with them, we ran into a multitude of problems. Mr. A would shoot down a lot of our ideas, some that Save Anime and I found funny and interesting. But after 3 stressful days of working on the script, it was finally finished. But Mr. A refused to continue with the video making process. Why? Well, he wanted 8363 MTR to look at the script, and he wanted fucking Doodle Tones to be in a terrible opening skit that had potential, but ultimately became a hollow shell of its former self due to Mr. A shooting down our ideas. MTR never gave Mr. A the time of day until much later down the road, so the project was halted for weeks on end, just because Mr. A didn't want to start until he got the stamp of approval from MTR. Not only that, but Doodle never bothered to record his lines for the video, so that didn't help. Now, why would Mr. A refuse to make a video without MTR's consent and take Doodle's very brief cameo out of the script? Well, little did I realize at the time, Doodle Tones had made a commentary on Mr. A's video right before we began this project, and he wanted to have the approval of other big commentators to prevent another similar incident.
Didn't Ryan bring up something like that about he hates it when people are too fucking scared to put out their content without the consent of other big commentators, and how it's a big problem within the community?
Indeed he did. Luckily, some voices within the CC are aware of the faults of the community, so we basically decided to cancel the project with Mr. A. I wondered why this experience was so bad. Then I decided to dig a little deeper into the commentary community. I then realized, of course, that the majority of the community was a bunch of oversensitive twats that used weeaboo avatars and bitch and moan about ad hominems. So, I suppose you're expecting some examples right about now. Well, my trailer for starters. Now, why do you think I made the title "The Commentary Community Has Failed You"? Well, I've been planning on making a video analyzing the current state of the community and all of its problems, and instead of just naming past examples such as the Medicare situation, which I will be covering later on whether you like it or not, I figured why not just have them make an example for me. So, before beginning the project, I made a vague trailer for it. I decided to make it as outrageous and dramatic as possible, saying that I was going to bring the apocalypse to the CC just to get a rise out of you. And boy, did it work. Commentators like Doodle Tones, Illogical Reaper, and Blaze of Arcana were bitching about it on Twitter for 2 weeks straight. People attempted to dismiss my video as a generic CC rant and call me Nero's Q, like that was supposed to hurt my fifis or something. These people were like puppets, and I was the puppet master pulling all of the strings. They were all proving my point without even realizing it. That point being that the CC can't handle any conflicting opinions and try to flame anyone who attempts to criticize them. Another point of mine that they proved was that they are a hive-minded community. Now, how did they prove this, you may ask? Well, in the comments of the trailer, Boonslayer made a joke about it being edgy. Now, after Boonslayer made a joke about it being edgy, everyone else started to. Another example would be Sean, also known as Doodle Tones, sorry, still calling you Sean, and Blaze of Autism. Now, our good friend Blaze was working on a script for a solo commentary on my video. That is, until Sean made a tweet saying that if you commentated on it, you failed him. Now, Blaze of Autism didn't want to fail Sean, so he canceled it. So, if I'm going to be talking about my issues with the commentary community, I feel it would be best to address the diaper in the room, as well as some other notable members within the CC. Now, it seems that the CC thinks that Doodle Tones cannot be criticized in the slightest, since others have already criticized him. Now, what is the problem with that? Well, they have no problem with commentating on other users that have already been commentated on many times before, such as Just a Robot. Now, this is a problem within the CC, where they have no concept of bandwagons, even if it's been covered time and time again. They're hungry for commentary material, so they jump right on the bandwagon. Now, if you can talk about just a robot more times than I can count, what's wrong with criticizing doodle tones when others already have? And not only that, but they also turn on themselves. When they run out of material, they commentate on each other.
To the point where it's almost comparable to cannibalism, which, at the same time, out of all the commentators that commentate on each other, the smaller commentator will always admit defeat out of what some can perceive as fear, instead of defending their unpopular/opposing opinion.
So, now I will be talking about none other than doodle diapers. Now, one thing I find interesting about Sean is his disclaimers at the beginning of his videos.
Because evidently this needs to be said, I do not want you guys to go to today's Target for the purposes of giving them a hard time. Please do not pester these people at all. Thank you.
He never used those before Mr. Mediker's fans attacked him. I guess he thinks that his fans are so dumb that they have to be told not to start lynch mobs like Mediker fans do. Little does anyone know, he actually does this to save his own ass. Now, how could that be? Well, the reason why the Mediker situation started in the first place was because Doodle's fans started to tell Jim how he was a piece of shit for his kink shaming, and that's what caught the attention of Jim, and eventually led to the creation of the infamous Hugbox Chronicles Episode 7. So now Doodle keeps his fans in line so he can criticize bigger YouTubers without having to worry about being criticized back, because he doesn't like that. Another thing that's interesting about the Mediker situation is his reasons for disabling comments. He claims that he was being harassed and told to kill himself. Now, Doodletones is a nice, caring person, and he would never do anything like that. Oh. I guess it's okay when Doodletones tell someone to kill themselves, because they were just a cyberbully, and cyberbullies don't deserve to live. Not to mention that even the Illogical Reaper admitted that he blocked people that weren't even being vulgar, just politely debunking his points. Now, speaking of the Mediker situation, it seems to be taboo within the commentary community. It's something that they don't want you to talk about. And if you do, then you're just opening an old can of worms and the argument is irrelevant. It happened 3 months ago. They're acting like this shit happened 10 years ago or something. Yet the CC seems to have no problem with discussing dead topics. I find it interesting how they think it's okay for Sean to make a video on Mediker, but when he strikes back, he's a cyberbully. Like, honestly, what did you people think was going to happen? When you pull the tail of a rattlesnake, you should expect it to bite. What the Mediker situation proved was that the CC can't handle opinions that contradict their own. When someone pokes fun at them or calls them out on their bullshit, they get emotional and butthurt. Speaking of which, I love how much emotion Doodle puts in his videos, even when they're scripted.
Fuck you. You are actively telling your viewers, hey, go harass this kid who basically draws inflation because I don't like it. Fuck you.
Now, how about that for an ad hominem?
I'd buy that for $1.
It's almost as if he has asterisk spurg the fuck out asterisk in the script. Speaking of Doodle, I think it's in order to address his biggest fan, Carmonet0, internet freedom fighter against cyberbullies who misgender his hero. Now, if you find your way to a video that says remotely anything that could possibly be perceived as negative about Sean, you will more than likely find Carmonet in that comment section, like this hilarious comment right here. She's transgender and identifies as female, therefore she is female. That's right, you don't need hormone pills and you don't need to do any snip downstairs. If you say you're female, then you're female. So if I say I'm an attack helicopter, I'm an attack helicopter. Now, after Carmonet has put his ass on the line to defend Doodle against the transphobic cyberbullies for months on end, what does Doodle have to say in gratitude to his biggest fan?
Redo a commentary on it later, but it was too late because Carmonet and Blaze of Arcana did a video on Joshua's first video. Luckily, no one knows who Carmonet is.
Ouch. That's gotta hurt. After white knighting your senpai for that long, what do you get in return? A bitch slap of truth. The fact that you're an irrelevant commentator that spends your free time defending someone that doesn't give a fuck about you. Now, speaking of bronies getting their fifis hurt, let's talk about another brony, for no good reason. If you are unaware of for no good reason, allow me to enlighten you. He is a 36-year-old brony analyst that has a deep, burning hatred for 8chan since he has his own thread on the cow board and, in turn, calls anyone who he disagrees with an 8chan medofag. He has a Kiwi Farms thread as well, going in depth about how he got cucked by his girlfriend at a brony convention. I really wish I was joking about this. So this brony analyst decided to make a little video about me where he beckons me to come on his brony podcast in the most interesting way I've ever seen.
Dear Dark Scythe, you seem like a massive troublemaker. I collect massive troublemakers.
You know it's fucking bad if I have to interject 5 seconds into the video. So, I'm a troublemaker? So sharing your opinions on the internet makes you a troublemaker? And what exactly do you mean by collecting troublemakers? By the way you look, it appears collecting troublemakers means collecting elementary school kids in your white van.
Or at the very least, I seek them out.
Right, seek them out at bus stops, playgrounds, parks, swimming pools, the whole 9 yards.
In the brony fandom, this gentleman's name is called Final Draft. Horse news, they would have you believe he's Satan. So naturally, I went on a way to talk to the guy. This is Elite Pete. I assume she needs no introduction. This is Ryan Reno Mills of the CC, who's infamous for hitting a bunch of brony people. Pretty much that. Long story short, I would like to have a podcast with you. I like talking with people with unpopular opinions. I'll promote your channel, and I might even throw some artwork your way.
Send me some artwork, you say? Does this artwork include pony porn? Just asking.
For ya. I've had a level-headed podcast with the Fandom Menace. 2, and why it's fun to get into a screaming match, even screaming matches that don't concern me. But since I already made this offer to you in your comments, and I didn't hear shit back...
So you give this eloquent explanation of your offer in your video, yet the comment you gave was extremely vague and difficult to comprehend. A lot like the noises you make when you have your way with the troublemakers that you collect in your basement.
Don't mind me, I'm just gonna stick my dick in your pudding.
I'd hate to break it to you, but I'm actually the age of consent, so you might want to find a troublemaker that's a little younger.
Mortal Kombat Conquest sucked.
I mean, I'm not really sure what Mortal Kombat Conquest mode has to...
Let me slow this down for you, Buttercup. As a normie, you don't understand that spelling things with a K is the ultimate way to be edgy.
But I'm not a normie, I'm an 8chan medofag.
Take Toon Critic here, for example. The single most edgy man on the internet. Mortal Kombat is spelt with a K. The Conquest mode in Mortal Kombat is spelt with a K, meaning it has 2 Ks, meaning it's super edgy. Let me know if I'm going a little too fast for you, Buttercup.
If you have to explain a joke, it's not funny, but nice little explanation there. I thought I was watching an Illuminati confirmed video there for a second.
Dark Scythe, you better not mention my diaper fetish, because if you do, I'm going to report you for cyberbullying and disable comments. Besides, it's just gonna be a generic CC rant, so fuck you.
Hey, I didn't realize that Doodle Tones looked like Sinnoh. So, your teasing is all good, clean fun. Allow me to respond. And remember, I'm just ribbing you.
Was that supposed to be sexual? Does he want to touch me up the butt?
You're like Nero's Q. Wait. The amount of edge made me lose my arm. Oh my god!
Alright, that's it.
So, let me explain to the audience what's going on here. Dark Scythe is a stereotypical 8chan medfag.
I'm not an 8chan medofag. I'm a normie. Hey, wait a second.
I.e., he stands for nothing, he does nothing, and he is nothing.
So basically you're putting a label on me for having a different opinion than your own. Well, if I did that, applying your own logic to myself, you'd be a fat neckbeard with 7 chins that touches little kids.
At least, that's what he wants you to believe. Oh no, my little ponies, he does believe in one thing.
Video games uniquely leave absolutely no impression on anyone who comes into contact with them. They're meaningless. I renounce all of their inherent value. Just please, please don't ban or censor anything.
Okay, so I get what you're trying to do here. You did no research about me or my content, and you're pulling claims straight from your asshole like Blaze of Autism.
Because that's your safe zone, isn't it, Buttercup?
Why do you keep calling me Buttercup? Is that what you call the other troublemakers you've collected?
My video games! Here is the random edgelord in his natural habitat. Notice the Doritos grinded into the carpet and the X-Bone controller firmly wedged up his own arsehole.
Okay, Buttercup, if you're gonna be edgy, that's cucks with a K.
Hello everyone, Edgy Neckbeard Basement Dweller here. Now before I begin, this is not what I was advertising in my teaser trailer. I decided to delay it since the project is rather ambitious and I need more time to complete it. Good, you don't care. Other people do, that's why I mentioned it. Also, nice Pony OC Donut Steel.
You could have edited out your fat wheezing ass out of the video. Here, let's play that again. I mean, I know I think it's sexy when a man's literally wheezing for air in the middle of talking.
So basically, since I inhaled oxygen, something that, you know, every human fucking does, that automatically means I'm a wheezing fat neckbeard like, well, like you?
Buttercup, perhaps you might want to put your X-Bone controller down and do some jumping jacks.
Yeah, coming from the guy that looks like Weird Al Yankovic from his Fat music video. That I already know you're gonna make.
But Darkseid, that's an ad hominem!
That's called a straw man fallacy, Buttercup.
Wow, good thing you looked at that term in a thesaurus to make yourself sound smart.
By the way, is that a Grendel avatar? Personally, I love 1990s ads. Kids these days have no taste.
Kids these days have no taste. Right, I suppose those troublemakers wouldn't enjoy the taste of your semen. So for those of you that weren't aware, 2 weeks ago I decided to make a teaser for an upcoming project of mine, and it got great reception from the commentary community.
For those of you who don't know, I made 3 videos on Mr. Medicare, and it got a great reception from the My Video Games community. Buttercup, that's 14 downvotes. I have several hundred. Oh, you precious little snowflake, you.
You got more dislikes than I did? Well, congratulations. Here's a trophy for completing such an achievement. Justin Bieber wouldn't take the award for his baby music video, so here you go.
Remember, ribbing ya.
So I used doodle diapers as an example.
But dang slut, the term doodle diapers is overused!
So I was using the term edgy, but you don't hear me bitching, do you? Basically, I explained how I didn't like how he disabled comments on his video on Mr. Medicare, explaining that he is clearly censoring the opinions of others.
But Dorkscythe, they called her an autistic spurg, and that's cyberbullying and harassment!
Alright, let's take this in turn in regards to doodle diapers. This is the Fandom Menace. He just put up a video where he talks about chunky ass for 11 minutes.
So let me tell you, child, about how I am the Lord and Savior, chunky ass.
Are we going to start defining him as the chunky ass menace from now on? I have an affinity for big tits. Do I get to be Big Tits FNGR from now on? I mean, we're going to start calling Ryan Penis B. Mills from now on, are we? It would be kinda weird to define someone by their kink. As for censoring the opinions of others, I was fairly close to ground zero in this bad boy. Oddly enough, I heard Doodle ate it far worse than I did, though this isn't a competition.
Right, this isn't a competition, because you totally didn't brag about getting more dislikes, therefore you have more worth than I do? Or rather, lack thereof, I suppose.
I've had 2 channels that took a backlash. One, I cut all the crap out, and the other one, I just let the shit lay on the floor where it landed. Fan and Frenzy, and you're free to look through any of those comment sections. They look like shitholes. Censorship is a big, scary word for frightened small children, but it's not that I don't understand why it's scary. Here, if I offered you $5 and $10, you'd take 10. It's more. If I offered you 1 or 2 scoops of your favorite ice cream, you'd ask for 2 most likely, even if you weren't hungry, because it's better to have and not need and not have. Censorship, to the simple-minded, invokes the image of less. If I wanted to agree with you, I would say that you would prefer a chick with boobs as opposed to not having boobs. Buttercup, I'm assuming you prefer boobs. Now, let's read off 5 samples of what I can only assume was shit Susie didn't want to have to put up with.
Spurg Rage, you're a thick. I'm gonna give this like 11 thumbs down. Look at the nigger chimp out. LOL. Get fucked, nerd.
Now, actually looking back, that doesn't seem like that big of a deal other than, well, this tranny bitch here that's dating Armored Skeptic, bringing her shoddiness into my comment section.
Now, I seem to notice that you have a big fat boner for not only children, troublemakers, but for shit-talking Armored Skeptic and his girlfriend. Now, a user named 5deadspace brought up a point about this, and I think it makes quite a bit of sense. Isn't Shuan Head Skeptic's girlfriend? Probably why he hates him so much. Dude can carry a few pounds and be with a babe. Meanwhile, he's a sackless cuck faggot that gets conned by women. Well, it all makes sense now. He can't get a real, good-looking adult girlfriend, so he resorts to kidnapping troublemakers, so he can at least say he nutted in some, well, boy pussy.
And that's not me being a bigot. She, he, it, right here, only talks about there being 2 genders, so I'm gonna call him he because the customer is always right.
So you would have to call an actual tranny by their preferred pronouns, but an actual woman by a factually incorrect one?
This shit gets old, and a saner person than I would have just turned that shit off.
And you're saying that you would have disabled comments if a lot of people were just speaking the truth? Well, I guess the truth is a hard pill to swallow.
If you can't take what some random neckbeard from bumfuck Iowa has to say with a grain of salt, then you probably shouldn't be on the internet in the first place. Simple as that. Now, that's all I have to say about doodle diapers. Everything about it has been said before, and I don't feel like regurgitating what others have said. Because that's exactly what the CC cucks are doing with me right now, and I want no part of that.
The whole point of this video was to get the CC cucks talking about you. I don't know about you, but if I'm trying to get someone's attention, cucks isn't a bad way to go. If you're not going to put your love and care into doing a stylized troll, it's kind of lazy. Hey, let me show you something. What a real troll looks like.
You want to talk about a logical fallacy? Nice, no true Scotsman fallacy.
It is I, the true Scotsman.
When he's critiquing the humor, but then he goes on to say that he's gonna pick apart the humor, implying that he is to be taken seriously. Are you pulling a manga comment on me right now?
Now see that? That burns. Now if I were here to do a Buttercup video, I would say, what would I expect from an 8chan fag and his video games? But I'm not gonna do that here. See how full of shit that sounds? Now, glossing over censorship points with Reaper, generally artists over the years, if you know your history, when they have limitations placed on them, rise to the occasion to put content with deeper meaning. Whereas in YouTube's case, in the comment sections, giving ultimate freedom to John Blow, Jane Blow, Howard Blow, all the blows, you get YouTube's comment section, which thankfully YouTube gives us an opt-out by turning it off. And truthfully, you have a recourse, sir. You have this video. No one's censoring you from getting off your fat ass and making a response. But did you notice this, Buttercup? You're fine with calling bullshit out on someone, but the moment the spotlight's put on you by anyone, well, they're CC cucks. Well, in that line of thinking, we can just slap medfag on your forehead and just put a checkmark in the win column.
You seem to have a common symptom of autism, more specifically, Asperger's. You can't decipher when someone is being serious or making a joke. The term CC cuck was supposed to be a little meme for my video, but it seems that went right over your little head.
So you can go back to playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Others, when the very foundation of the CC is supposed to be a space of free thinkers and the ability to voice your opinion no matter how unpopular or grotesque it is. I have no problem with skits if they are properly executed and entertaining, even if they are long. I've made long skits myself, so I clearly have no problem with it. I don't really care that you call yourself the skeleton of the CC. However, I find it ironic that the self-proclaimed skeleton of the CC is trying to ridicule me for being edgy, implying that calling yourself the fucking skeleton of the CC isn't edgy at all. Look, I'm not gonna sit here and say the CC is a perfect community. with absolutely god-tier videos every single time. I'll admit that it has some problems it needs to work out, like the bandwagon effect, which I find is kind of annoying. However, it feels like the anti-CC's problems seem to be more petty nitpicks than anything else. Petty nitpicks? Yeah, like every criticism the CC cucks have given me on my trailer so far.
This is all petty. The CC was born out of petty. Your god is Mr. Medicare, the man who made Gamergate, the Lord High embodiment of petty bullshit.
Mr. Medicare, my god? Just because I happen to agree with someone's opinion doesn't mean I worship the ground they walk on.
Next question.
Trailer so far? Doodle is a transgendered typer fag, setting aside the fact that she's admitted that sex disgusts her, and all the pictures she drew were challenges more than anything else. But now, let's throw pointless mud at everything, because why not? Yeah, sex disgusts him, even though he's admitted that he's interested in fetishes?
However, fetishes are things that infinitely fascinate me.
I'm really about to lose some friends for this. But if a Catholic priest said the same shit Doodle said, everyone here would be screaming bullshit. Now, while I understand an unhealthy fixation doesn't always equal a boner, I myself don't get an erection over an AR-15. Or do I? I mean, come on. Tell me that thing isn't a work of art. All the inner workings and the things that go on into making this a fully functional instrument of death. I mean, if this doesn't turn you on, I have to wonder if you're gay or something. What were we talking about again? Oh yeah, I think Doodle here is in the closet about being a pervert. I also don't really think that this is relevant or anyone's business. For example, I have legions of 8chan medfags who go around telling me my dad's dead. And unless I go out and prove that he's alive, they'll all say it's true. It's a dumb idea to give medfags more personal information, which is why I understand why Doodle would be less than forthcoming on what may or may not rock her socks.
If Mr. Medicare is my god, then Sean is yours, since you're white knighting him like the beta cuck you are. I also find it interesting how you conveniently cut out the part where he says he enjoys some more than others.
I will say there are some I enjoy more than others, certainly though.
If he's disgusted by sex, then why would he enjoy things of sexual nature?
You can't be interested in fetishes and be disgusted with sex. That's just not how it works. That's like being disgusted by gore, but being interested in murdering your entire family.
What the fuck are you on about? Has anyone here ever thought about killing their boss? How about someone who hurt their family? I'm sure some of these people aren't keen on watching the juicier inner knickknacks pouring out of a human being. Besides, you could run someone over, you could use a high-powered rifle, or some good old poison. My point is, your example sucked dick to win the argument. But hey, calling me out on being nitpicky would be CC bullshit, and you're better than that, and you're not a cuck. So I'm gonna nip this in the ass because your video is horribly redundant.
Horribly redundant, coming from the person who has said buttercup more times than I can possibly count. Also, I never said you have to watch gore in order to be a serial killer. I just meant that if you have homicidal thoughts, you are clearly mentally ill. And now if you are depraved enough to want to not only just kill another human being, but to a human being that you are close to, why would you have a problem with watching gore, someone that they don't know? Now, the expert troll you were referring to earlier actually agreed with me on this point.
There's also a point in the video where Dark Scythe gets onto a logical Reaper for saying that Doodle is disgusted in sex when Doodle herself has said she's fascinated by fetishes. You can't be fascinated by a fetish and disgusted by sex at the same time, because that's like saying that you're interested in the production of meat, yet you're a vegan.
Edgy and had terrible music, I decided to revamp the trailer more to your liking.
You better believe that I got tricks up my sleeve, and I captivate, cause I'm powerful and great.
So Buttercup, in short, I find you're interesting.
I find you're interesting? You know English good there, buddy old pal? Are you incapable of editing or retaking parts of your videos? I mean, you clearly put time and effort into your fucking content, so therefore, you must watch your content over and think to yourself, hey, this is really good, before uploading it. You clearly don't. Cause if you're fucking making mistakes like this in your content, then you clearly must not care about your fucking content. I mean, I've seen better grammar from a paraplegic gorilla with Down syndrome. I mean, judging from your pictures, you probably have Down syndrome, at least You'd have to have some kind of visibility to get cucked twice by 2 different women who you've most likely let walk all fucking over you. And trust me, dude, there's a lot of you to walk on. And that expert troll that we mentioned earlier, I can't believe you're still friends with him considering the fact that, he fucked one of your girlfriends while, at the fucking BronyCon orgy while you were still probably sitting in your mom's fucking basement crying like a little fat neckbeard. End your pathetic fucking existence.
You bring the fire and I'll bring the fuel. And I'll hope to hear from you soon. P.S. Don't change a thing. You're perfect. I just wanted to argue with you. Mwah!
This was fun. Wanna do this again sometime? Maybe for just a tool used for my arguments. And the responses I got proved everything I was arguing about was indeed correct. Ryan Rhino Mills even pointed this out.
But at the end of the day, we are not really making a good case for us being in the right when we go to Darkseid's video instantly assuming it's going to be bad, instantly assuming it's going to be generic, and instantly proving Darkseid's point in that regard.
I don't wish to bring the apocalypse to the commentary community. Instead, I would like to see it change into something more grand than a shadow of its former self. If someone comes along with problems with the CC, like Mr. Medicare or Jesus with bazookas, don't dismiss what they have to say just because you don't like the way it's presented. Rather, hear out what they have to say and listen with an open mind. People like Ryan Rhino Mills can see the problems within the community, and so should everyone else who thinks otherwise.